Hello, and welcome to this mobile-friendly course design in Canvas presentation. This presentation is brought to you by the Office for Academic Innovation, and my name is Diana Benavides, and I will be sharing with you how to enhance your course design in Canvas so that it is mobile-friendly. Some training outcomes participants will be able to identify design tips to optimize course content for mobile devices, add and use text headers to organize content within modules, use module requirements as visual cues for completion. So let's talk about the Canvas mobile app. Canvas has a Canvas teacher app, and it also has a Canvas student app that you and students can download. So if you are using an iOS device, you can go into your Apple Store and download the Canvas Teacher app or the Canvas Student app. You will just type in the search box instructor, and you will be able to see that those are the first things listed. And you can also identify them by that little icon. The Teacher app is with the yellow icon, and the Student app is with the red icon. You will be able to download them on the Google Play Store if you have an Android device. This is very important that you get familiar that you have access to these mobile apps, as this is something that a lot of our students are using to check on their announcements, check on their grades, check on messages coming through inbox. So I really recommend that you take the time to download these apps in your device. Let's talk about one of the tips that you can take away today on how to make sure that your course content is mobile friendly. And one of those ways is by organizing your content in modules. So just a reminder, modules in Canvas they kind of work like folders where you can organize your content there by modules, and those modules can be called weeks, they can be called chapters, whichever works for you. But in each module, you are going to add pages, assignments, discussions, links, and quizzes in each module. And ideally, you will organize them perhaps by week or by day, depending on the frequency of your classes. If you take a look at the screenshot, what a module would look like for, let's say, week 1, we have all the activities, all the content, the presentation, all the tasks that the students need to complete for this week. And right here, you will see that same module on the app, on the student app. This is specifically the student app, how the students will see it. The title of the module will show at the top. And then they will see all the content that is within that module as well. So let's take a look at how we can add those modules in Canvas. Let me head over to my course. So here's my mobile-friendly course design that I have for these trainings. So I'm going to head over to modules from the course navigation. And if you are using the template, you can see that the sample documents are already placed in modules. So the instructor module was already placed in one container. I can collapse that. Then there is the student experience resources, was also built in another module. I can collapse that as well. And here is where I have that sample module that has been organized for week 1. These are all the things that my students are going to work on and that we're going to cover on week 1. And you can see that I already have one for week 2, and I already have one for week 30. Whenever you want to create a new module, you can either create a new module right at the top, that maroon button plus module, and you can give it a name and add that new module to start building in content for, let's say, a new week. If you are following, let's say, the same structure for week 1, this is the sample that you know from the template. If you want to follow that same layout, the recommendation is to take the quiz out and put it temporarily in another module, because a quiz inside a module is not going to let you duplicate the entire module. So let me just add this one right here on week 30 for a moment. And then on the 3 vertical dots right next to the module title, you can see that I have the option to duplicate. So that will be a quick way to duplicate modules if you already have a structure set for each week. Let's start looking at another way to make sure that your course content is mobile friendly. Use those text headers. As you remember as well, the template has the week 1 module and is using headers. Those text headers are going to help organize your content, and they're also going to keep consistency by providing a naming convention, a naming scheme throughout your modules. If you keep it the same throughout the modules, students are going to get into the habit of maybe these are the things that they want to cover while they're on the bus or while they're waiting somewhere. So they can organize their day, they can organize the week as well. So text headers are very helpful to organize that information that you want them to cover each week. So you can see that the week 1 module template has a weekly overview header, weekly activities header, and a weekly review header. And you can also see how they show on the mobile app. They also show and they help separate that content. You can see that text headers are not identified by a specific icon, right? However, activities like pages, quizzes, and assignments and discussions, they will be identified by that little icon that you see in there. So let's take a look back at the course, how we can add text headers. So I have intentionally left this week 2 module without headers. So I am going to add the same headers I used for week 1. So I have a weekly overview, I have a weekly activities, and a weekly review. I'm going to replicate that same thing at the plus button. I am going to select text header, and it is called weekly overview. So I just type that, weekly overview. I don't want it to be indented, add item. Every time you add a new item to a module, it gets added at the bottom. So I can click, hold down, and drag, and drop it in the area where I need it. Now I need to create one for weekly activities. And there it is, again at the bottom. I know my activities start right here, and I need one for the weekly review. And there it is, again add it at the bottom, find the right location, there it is. So now my week 2 module looks just like the week 1 module. I'm following that same naming scheme, and that's going to help my students by providing them some consistency. Okay, let's go back. Add module requirements. This is a very, very helpful visual bookmark that helps the students see their progress as they cover your course content. So depending on the module item, such as pages, you can require a student to view the item. You may be able to require the student to mark it as done, or you might require somebody to contribute to the page, as it is in the case on, let's say, a page. If you want students to contribute in a page, you want to allow them to do that. There's also a requirement to submit the assignment, and this works for assignments, for graded discussions, and it works for quizzes. Or you can also say, well, I want them to score at least, this minimum score on their submission, maybe for a quiz. And so as you can see right here on the desktop view, the students will be able to see at the top that says complete all items. And you can also see these visual cues that say, you have to view this element, you have to mark as done, you have to view these other page. In the weekly activities, it says you need to mark these done. The discussion, it says that they need to contribute. For the quiz, it says that they need to submit. And you can see that every time the student is completing something, there is that green check mark right next to it. And this is also the view on the mobile app. Every time the student is completing something, there it is the visual cue of that green check mark. So let's look at how we can add requirements in a module. Let's do it on that week 2 module we were just working on. So from the 3 vertical dots, we are going to click edit, and we are going to add a requirement. And so here is my first option, selected by default. Students must complete all of these requirements, and that will be this one. I'm saying the week 2 overview. I want the students to view the item. I have marked it as done or contribute to the page. Let's say I just want them to view the item. Then I'm going to add the second one. So after overview, there was the presentation lecture. Let's say I want them to mark it as done, add another requirement. Let's go into, let's say, an assignment. So there's the week 2 individual assignment. I have viewed the item, mark as done, submit the assignment. Well, I want the student to submit the assignment. So that is the requirement. And I can add another one. Let's say we had a discussion in there. We can ask the student to view the item, contribute to the page, submit the assignment, or score at least. Well, I want them to contribute. It is a discussion board. And then once I am comfortable with all the requirements I'm adding on these modules, then I click Update Module. And you can see right at the bottom, it shows what is the requirement for each of the items I added. If I wanted to add a requirement on every single item, I can just go back and say, I want this content page to have a requirement, and I want the wrap up and looking ahead page to have a requirement as well. But that is one way you can do that. Let me show you really quick the student view. Make sure is that published? Yeah, the week 2 is published. Let's do a quick student view. And you can see week 1 module. The student has marked as done these page on the week 1 module, and they still have these circles. When you hover over the circle, it tells you as well, they must view the page, they must mark as done, they must submit the assignment. And then let's take a look at the week 2, which is the one that we just modified as well. And so you can see there are the requirements in there. The tooltip will show up and will tell the student what they need to do. So let's leave the student view. Let's go back in here to take a look at the next tip. Use pages. Use pages in Canvas as much as possible by, let's say you have all your course content built in like Word document. Make sure that if it's possible, if you can copy that text and paste it into pages, they're gonna make it so much easier to read for students on mobile rather than uploading or linking a PDF or a Word document. So that's why we have here the contrast for you. On the first image, you can see that on the student mobile app, this content has been directly pasted into a page. And so you can see the text, the font size is a lot more readable compared to what you see on the second image. You can see it was a Word document. This is going to be inside, like, let's say a container. So you can see that the text gets a little bit smaller and it makes it a little bit harder to read, which is going to have, the student is going to have to, use their 2 fingers to pinch the page and then oversize the text so they can read it. And then the same thing with a PDF. That's the image on the third view. You can see that the text even gets smaller than what you see from a Word document. So as possible, use the built-in Canvas pages to show all that text content. So let's take a look at what it looks like on those 3 different views. So in the week 3 module, I actually added those 3 different options. So you saw that document about the dog. And so in here, what I did, this is the most mobile friendly view for the Canvas app is if I paste all the text content directly into a page. So I don't have an extra container in this area. However, when I look at a Word document, this is a Word document that I uploaded into Canvas, you can see that I have a container inside of Canvas, and it is the exact same document, same image. I didn't change the font or anything. On desktop, the view is fine, but on mobile, this is going to be a lot smaller. And let's take a look at a PDF. The PDF will be a very similar story where the document will be put inside a container. It's the same document, same font size, same content. And on desktop view, it is fine, but it is not going to be as mobile friendly when it is read through Canvas student app. So those are just some things for you to keep in mind. And you can see the difference in here. That little pay-per-click icon is what's telling me that's an attached file. And that little page icon is telling me this is a page, this is a Canvas page, okay.
Now let's take a look at the apps. I have an iOS device and I have downloaded the student app and the teacher app. As I mentioned earlier in the training, the teacher app is identified by the yellow icon and the student app is identified by the red icon. Let's take a look at the teacher app. When I open the app, I have access to my dashboard where I can see the course cards for all of my courses. And at the bottom of the app, I can see a tab for courses, a to-do list, and the inbox where I can see whichever messages I have incoming from my students. The to-do list is reminds you of things that need to be graded in your courses. Let's open the mobile-friendly course design, which is the course that we have been working on. When you open the course, you're going to be able to see navigation items. As we scroll down, you see the different tabs that we have enabled in the course. Let's go into modules. And as you may remember, we already have the instructor module, and we see all the content pages in that area. And we can see that the title of the module gets locked at the top. And as we scroll down, it is locked in place. And as we move into the Student Experience Resources module, that new title is going to be replaced at the top and is going to get locked in as we go through the contents of that module. And then it will be the same thing for the next module, which is the week 1 module. It is going to give you that same experience. The title gets locked in at the top. As you scroll down, you can see the contents of that module. The week 2 module is the one that we added the text headers to organize the content within the module. Now let's take a look at those 3 different document samples I showed earlier. This is the page view of that Ipsum document that I had. This was pasted, the text and the picture, it was pasted within Canvas page. And you can see the text allows for easy readability on mobile. And then as we go to the next page, this one is a linked Word document. The text has been pictured. The formatting of this document gets a little bit lost as well. And then if we go to, as you can see, I have to pinch on the page to be able to resize the text, and I can read it, and then I have to change it left to right to be able to read all the text. And this is the PDF document. And it's a similar story where I have to pinch on the page to be able to zoom in and then adjust it left to right, able to read these documents as it is inside a container. So it is not within a Canvas page. So that's for you to see those differences in how you present documents in Canvas. Now let's take a look at the student app. The students will be required to look for their school as well, Texas A&M University, and they will need to log in using their net ID and password. This is their Canvas dashboard where you can see all the courses. Because I'm also an instructor, I see some of the courses where I'm an instructor, such as this mobile-friendly course design, and I also see courses where I am a student. Because I'm a student in some of these courses, I'm also a group member in different group activities, so I can see those groups listed at the bottom of this page. At the bottom of this app, you can also see that we have tabs that are dashboard, calendar, a to-do, notifications, and inbox. So you can see that this one adds 2 more icons at the bottom for navigation. So that is one of those differences you see on the Canvas student app. Now let's take a look at that mobile-friendly course design from the student view. Very similar, navigation items, navigated to modules. These are the modules, this is how students are going to see them. And this is the week 1 module. You can see we have requirements in there. The first page requires the student to view the page. The second item says that needs to be marked as done, so the student needs to open this page, click on that box that says mark done. Then the third page also mark it as done. The assignment needs to be submitted, and so on. You see the requirements that have in place. Week 2 module, we worked together on adding those requirements. We skipped a few of them, but you can see the circles right next to each item. And here I went, this page requires me to view this document. And so I click on it, I view it, and next time I go back into the module, I am going to be able to see a green check mark right next to that item.
So some best practices, download the apps, download both the teacher app and the student app, because it's going to allow you to double check and test whether something is mobile friendly or not. And then get familiar with the Canvas teacher app, because you might find that you may like it as you check things on the go. Most assignments and quizzes should be completed on a desktop via the browser, right? You want to make sure that the students have the full experience to be able to work on their assignments, and especially with quizzes as well, they should be able to use a desktop. The mobile apps in Canvas are mostly for checking announcements, just, checking some readings, checking some messages that come through the inbox, just for things like that. And then for really high stakes things, they should be looking into the Canvas via the browser and the desktop. Use modules to chunk the course content, and also use the text headers, as they allow the student to be able to follow your information in each module.
Okay, so the invitation here is to have you attend our training. We have training sessions on the Canvas template, peer reviewing Canvas, communication tools in Canvas. Please check our LMS.TAMU.EDU website that always has the most recent information on our training offerings. And also feel free to check out our YouTube channel, as it has all the recordings of all the training sessions that we host in our office, as well as our Instagram, and check our group in there. We also try to post some Canvas tips as well. And don't forget to reach out to us through our support help desk through help@tamu.edu. Thank you so much for joining.
To learn more, please visit LMS.TAMU.EDU or email us at aihelp@tamu.edu. Thank you.